Yesterday was Christmas, and my son yelled at me in front of everyone, called me selfish, said I'd always only thought about myself, that I was never really there. The room went dead silent. My daughter-in-law smiled, my grandkids stared at the floor, and me, I froze, couldn't get a single word out. Just stood there, feeling my heart shatter while everyone stared at me. I spent 32 years raising that boy, gave up my career, my time, my dreams, and there, in front of the whole family, he treated me like I was nothing. Like everything I did didn't matter one bit. Right then and there, I realized something. Maybe I've spent my whole life giving love to someone who never knew how to appreciate me. And the worst part, I let it happen, stayed quiet. But after what went down yesterday, everything's gonna change. My name's Lorraine Mitchell. I'm 64 years old. And yesterday was the worst Christmas of my life. I'm not exaggerating. I'm sitting here now, on the morning of December 26th, alone in my kitchen in Greenville, South Carolina, staring at the table still full of food that nobody really ate. The smell of cold turkey mixed with burnt-out candles makes my stomach turn. My son yelled at me in front of the whole family, called me selfish, absent, said things that still echo in my head like a scratched record. And me? I froze, just sat there, speechless, while everyone stared at me, my grandkids with their eyes wide, my daughter-in-law with that smile, my youngest son trying to process what was happening, and me, paralyzed, feeling my world crumble piece by piece. The table had looked beautiful. I'd spent 2 days getting everything ready. The red tablecloth that was my mother's, the napkins folded into flower shapes, the good china with those blue flowers on the edges. The candles were lit when they arrived, giving off that warm golden glow that I imagined would make everyone feel welcome. My son Terence was sitting at the head, in the spot that had always been his father's. His wife, Jasmine, to his right, messing with her phone with her red nails tapping on the screen. Tyler, 9, and Madison, 7, on the other side. Way too quiet for what I remembered of them. And Devin, my baby at 28, sitting near me, the only one who'd really hugged me when he got there. The tension had been in the air since they walked into my house. That kind of heavy silence you feel on your skin but try to ignore because you don't want to believe something's wrong. I'd made everything they liked. Turkey with that seasoning that's got sage and rosemary, glazed ham with cloves, sweet potatoes covered in golden marshmallow, green beans with crispy bacon, really creamy mac and cheese, cornbread still warm. My grandmother's glass bowls were all full, shining under the light. I'd even put some flowers from Dorothy's garden, my neighbor, in a vase in the center. I wanted everything to be perfect, wanted them to feel like they were special, like they were loved. How silly. I started serving everyone, filling the plates carefully. "Mom, we can serve ourselves," Terence said, his voice dry. But I kept going. I wanted to take care of them. Was that wrong? I tried to make conversation. Asked about Terence's work at the logistics company. It's fine. Asked about the kids, ecom school, going well. Asked if they had any trips planned. We don't know yet. Short answers that closed every door before I could even walk through. Devin tried to help, commenting about some basketball game he'd seen, about the weather, anything to break that ice, but it didn't work. Jasmine kept on her phone. The kids ate in silence. Terence looked at his plate like the food was an obligation. I felt my chest tightening but kept smiling, serving more beans here, more mashed potatoes there. When I got to dessert, I cut a big slice of pecan pie for Tyler. It had always been his favorite. "Here you go, sweetheart." Put it on his plate with a smile. That's when Jasmine spoke, without taking her eyes off her phone. "Lorraine, you realize you always do everything your way, right? Without asking what other people prefer?" I froze with the knife still in my hand. Her tone was calm, but there was poison between the lines. "What do you mean, sweetie?" She finally looked at me, and there was something in her eyes, satisfaction. "You decided Christmas was going to be here. Didn't ask if that's what we wanted. Just decided." I felt like the floor had disappeared from under my feet. "But it was Terence who called me. He's the one who said you guys wanted to do it here this year. My son's voice cut through the air like a knife. "Because you always do this." He wasn't yelling yet, but almost. Everyone stopped eating. Devon's fork hung in the air. Tyler shrank in his chair. Madison started biting her lip. "Always do what, son? I don't understand." "You always manipulate things to go your way. It's always been like that." Manipulate. Me. I felt my heart start that irregular beating, the kind you feel when something really bad's about to happen. "Terence, I swear I don't know where you're getting this from. I just wanted to make a nice Christmas for you." Now he was yelling, really yelling. His voice echoed through the small room, bounced off the walls, came back at me. "It was always about you, about what you wanted, about how you thought things should be." Devon dropped his fork. "Dude, calm down. This isn't the time or place to..." "It's not. So when's the time, Devon? When can I finally speak the truth?" Terence was standing now. When he got up, the chair scraped the floor with a horrible sound. He was big, had inherited his father's height, and standing there looking down at me, I felt tiny, teeny tiny, insignificant. "You were never really there in my life." Each word came out slow now, chewed on, and somehow that hurt more than the yelling. There was always something more important, always had an excuse. My voice came out shaky, weak. "Son, I worked because I had to. Someone had to pay the bills. Your father traveled and..." Always the same excuse. He slammed his open palm on the table. The glasses rattled. A candle almost went out. Tyler started crying softly. "You chose that hospital, chose those patients, chose the shifts instead of being with me." "I didn't choose. I had to..." "How many basketball games did you miss, Mom?" He leaned forward, hands planted on the table, his face close to mine. "How many? I'd wait for you in the stands. Every game, would look at the door, thought that this time you'd show up, and you never did." I felt the tears burning, but didn't let them fall. Not there. Not in front of everyone. I tried, son. I take double shifts to get time off, but sometimes I couldn't. There was an emergency. There always was something. His voice filled the entire room. Madison ran out, went upstairs. I heard the bedroom door slam up there. "My 8th grade graduation, you missed it. The science fair where I won first place, you missed it. The state championship we won, you missed it. You missed it," was like a punch to the stomach. "I was working to pay for your school, Terence, to pay for your college, I didn't want an expensive school. I wanted my mom." The silence that fell after that was deafening. Jasmine had a little smile on her lips. It wasn't big, but it was there. A victory smile. Devon was pale, looking at his brother like he didn't know him. Tyler was crying with his face hidden in his arms. And Terence kept standing, eyes red, chest rising and falling fast. I opened my mouth. No sound came out. Tried again, nothing. It was like my throat had completely closed up. My hands were shaking in my lap. My brain was screaming, "Say something, defend yourself, explain." But my body wouldn't obey. I just stayed there, sitting, mute, while my son looked at me with a mixture of anger and contempt I'd never, ever seen before. "You were an absent mother." His voice came out lower now, controlled, cold. "You were selfish. You put your career ahead of your kids, and I'm tired of pretending you didn't. Tired of coming here and acting like everything's okay. Jasmine put her hand on his arm, theatrical. Honey, let's go. The kids don't need to see this. See what? See him tearing me apart. See his mother being humiliated in her own house at the table she'd spent days preparing. Devon finally reacted, standing up too. Terence, you're being incredibly unfair. Mum did what she could with what she had. You were always her favorite anyway, right, Devon? Always the perfect son. You don't understand. I understand that you're being an asshole. Devon's voice came out loud now too, rare for him. She's our mother. She worked herself to the bone to give us a good life, and you're here on Christmas doing this. Terence gave a bitter laugh. Defend her then. You always did anyway. He looked at me one last time. I still hadn't managed to speak. I was in shock, I guess, or maybe I'd just given up. We're leaving. Jasmine, get the kids. They left, just like that. Jasmine went upstairs with that sway, called the kids. Tyler walked past me crying, didn't even look. Madison came down with her coat already on, eyes red. Terence grabbed the car keys. Devon tried to grab his arm. Don't do this, man. Let's talk. Terence pulled away. There's nothing to talk about. I said what I needed to say. Should have said it years ago. The front door opened. The cold December wind came in. I heard footsteps on the wooden porch, heard car doors opening and closing, heard the engine start, heard the car driving away, the sound getting quieter and quieter until it disappeared completely. And I stayed there, sitting, staring at the table full of food. The candles were still burning. The china was still shining. Everything was still perfect. Except it wasn't. Nothing was perfect anymore. And maybe it never had been. Devon came back to the table, pulled the chair real close to mine, held my hand. It was ice cold. I don't know how long it had been ice cold. Mom, his voice came out in a careful whisper, like I'd break if he spoke any louder. And maybe I would. I felt like I would, actually. I shook my head, had no words, just didn't have any. It was like Terence had taken all the words with him when he walked out that door. We stayed like that for what felt like hours, but was probably minutes. The wall clock went tick-tock. A candle sizzled and went out. The house was in absolute silence, but in my head it was thunderous. Terence's words echoed, repeated, hammered. You were an absent mother. I didn't want an expensive school. I wanted my mom. You were selfish. He shouldn't have talked to you like that. Devon finally broke the silence, his voice still low but firm. It was cruel. It was unfair. Unfair? But was it? Didn't he have a point? I started crying then. Not that pretty movie kind of crying. It was ugly. Loud sobs, snot, whole body shaking. Devon pulled me into his hug and I fell apart there, on my youngest son's shoulder, in the middle of the dining room decorated for a Christmas that had turned into a nightmare. I cried for everything, for the years of sacrifice that apparently meant nothing. For the nights I spent awake wondering if I was making the right choices. For the kid who waited for his mom in the stands and mom never showed up. For being humiliated in my own house. For not being able to say a single word in my defense. I did the best I could, I managed to say between sobs. I swear I did. I know, Mom, I know. Eventually I managed to calm down. Devon helped me up, took me to the living room couch, came back and started clearing the table. Leave it, son. I'll do it later. No, Mom, let me do it. I watched him carrying the plates still full of food to the kitchen. So much waste, so much effort thrown away. I kept staring at the Christmas tree in the corner of the room. It was small, artificial. but I decorated it with care. Red and gold ornaments, white lights that blinked slowly, a crooked star on top, 'cause I couldn't reach high enough to put it on straight. I'd bought that tree 3 years ago, right after James died. We'd always had a big tree, real, that smelled like pine, but alone, it didn't make sense to buy a big tree. So I bought this small one. For the small Christmases I knew were coming. I just didn't imagine it'd be this small, this lonely. I need to go back a bit so you can understand how I got to that Christmas. My full name's Lorraine May Mitchell. I'm 64 years old and I live alone in a 2-bedroom house in Greenville, South Carolina. It's an old house from 1960 that James and I bought when Terrence was 2. The paint on the walls is kinda worn, the floor creaks in some places, but it's mine. We paid on it for 25 years and finally paid it off in 2015. James always said when we paid off the house he was gonna travel with me, see the world, enjoy life. We paid it off and 3 years later he had the heart attack. Died before the ambulance got there. It was in the kitchen on a Saturday morning. He was making coffee. Fell on the tile floor I'd just mopped. I remember the smell of burnt coffee mixed with desperation. That was in March 2022. Almost 3 years ago now. I worked 38 years as a nurse at Greenville Memorial Hospital. Started in 1981, fresh out of school, still looking like a kid. Retired in 2019 after almost 4 decades taking care of people. Night shifts, weekends, holidays. I worked in everything: ER, ICU, pediatrics, oncology. Saw people born. Saw people die. Held hands of lonely patients in the early morning hours, cleaned wounds, applied medication, did CPR, saved lives, and yeah, I missed moments in my kids and lives to do all that. But at the time, it seemed like the only option. James was a sales rep for a medical equipment company. Traveled constantly. North Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, sometimes farther. Would be gone 2-3 weeks straight, come back for a few days and leave again. His salary was unstable. Commission. Some months were good, other months were tight, real tight. When Terrence was born in 1993, I tried working part-time. Lasted 6 months, couldn't pay the bills, went back to full-time. When Devin was born in 1997, I didn't even try to cut back. I knew it wouldn't work, so I'd work. Leave the kids with a babysitter, then at daycare, then they'd go to school by themselves. I'd leave in the early morning when it was still dark. Come back at night when it was already dark again. On double shift days, I wouldn't come back. Would sleep at the hospital and go straight to the next shift. Did that cause it paid more, a lot more, and we needed it. School, clothes, food, medicine when they got sick, dentist, school supplies. And then, of course, college. Terrence went to Clemson University, business administration. 4 years that cost an arm and a leg even with a partial scholarship. Devin went to Georgia Tech, information technology. That wasn't cheap either. I paid, would work and pay, would do overtime and pay, would take holiday shifts, 'cause they paid triple and I'd pay the tuition. Never complained. Or actually, I'd complain about being tired, about back pain, about swollen feet. But I never complained about having to do it. Thought I was doing the right thing. Thought I was being a good mother. Sacrifice, right? You always hear that mothers sacrifice, that mothers give up, that mothers do whatever it takes. And I did everything. But apparently it wasn't enough. Or it was too much the wrong way. Still don't know. Weeks before Christmas, early December, Terrence called me. It was on a Tuesday afternoon. I was watering the backyard plants when the phone rang. Mom, Jasmine and I talked. This year we want to do Christmas at your place. I was surprised. For the last 5 years more since he married Jasmine, we'd always done it at their house. They live in Columbia, the capital Total, in a big 3-bedroom house with a grassy yard and built-in grill. The house that his logistics manager's salary and her HR manager's salary can afford. Jasmine always made a point of hosting. Said she had more space, that it was better for the boys, that her kitchen was better equipped. I'd go, bring a pie or a side dish, and kinda not know where to sit, what to do, how to fit into that environment that wasn't mine. "Oh yeah, that's great, son. It'll be nice to have you guys here. It's been a while since we did it at my house." I tried to sound excited, but there was something in his voice, a coldness. "Yeah, Jasmine thought it'd be better, so it's the 25th. We'll get there in the afternoon." And Devon, should I invite him too? Invite him. The more the merrier. It wasn't true. He didn't want more people. He wanted something else, but I didn't know what. I hung up the phone with that weird feeling in my chest, but pushed it down. Did what I always do, ignored the discomfort, and focused on what needed to be done. If they were coming, I was going to get everything ready, was going to show that even living alone in a simple house, I still knew how to receive my family, still knew how to make a nice Christmas. I started getting ready that same day, made a shopping list, 3 different versions till it was good: turkey, ham, all the sides, desserts, ingredients, to make everything from scratch, 'cause I wasn't gonna serve anything from a box, nothing too processed. Wanted them to feel the care in the food. The following week, I started cleaning the house. Not that surface cleaning, deep cleaning. Took all the books off the shelf to clean behind them. Washed the windows inside and out. Climbed up an old ladder that creaked but held. Would wipe the floor on my knees, 'cause my mop didn't reach the corners right. My back complained. I've got arthritis in my lower back. Aftermath of years carrying patients, standing for hours on end. But I kept going. Took the china out of the cabinet. It was my mother's, which was her mother's, little white plates with delicate blue flowers on the edges, a bit stained by time but still pretty. Washed them one by one carefully, dried them with a soft dish towel. Some cups have little cracks, but nothing that ruins them. Set everything up on the dining table that's in the little dining room. That's kind of a room, kind of a hallway. It's not big. Fits 6 people tight, but it fits. Put on the red tablecloth that was also my mother's. Ironed it 3 times till the creases were perfect. Folded napkins into flower shapes after watching a YouTube video. Took 20 minutes for each one, and I made 8, 2 extras just in case. 3 days before Christmas, I went to the supermarket, the Bailo on Main Street. It was packed. That heat of people, cart hitting cart, kid crying, loud Christmas music on the speakers. Took me 2 hours filling the cart. Would check the list, check the prices. Each item kept adding up on the little calculator I carry in my purse. When I got to the register, the total came to $587.43, almost $600. My retirement check is $1,250 a month. I'd spent almost half. Thought about returning some things. The more expensive ham, the nuts for the pie, but I didn't return them. It was for my son, for my grandkids, worth every penny. Swiped the card, approved. Took everything home in 4 heavy bags that cut off circulation in my fingers. The next 2 days, I cooked. Started on Christmas Eve, December 24th, at 5 in the morning. Put on my red apron, the one with the white ruffle I got for Christmas 10 years ago and only wear on special occasions. Tied up my hair that's more white than black now. Washed my hands and started. The turkey first, 16 pounds. Took out the giblets, washed it, dried it, seasoned it with butter, garlic, sage, rosemary, thyme, salt, pepper. Stuffed it with onion, celery, and day-old bread. Covered it with foil and put it in the oven. 4 hours at 325 degrees. While it was roasting, I made the rest. Peeled 12 sweet potatoes, boiled them, mashed them, mixed them with butter, brown sugar, cinnamon, put them in a baking dish and covered them with marshmallows, cooked 2 pounds of green beans, sautéed them with diced bacon, onion, garlic, made mac and cheese from scratch, elbow macaroni, bechamel sauce, 3 types of shredded cheese, baked in the oven till it got that crispy crust on top, made cornbread with real corn, not from a box, golden, moist inside. The kitchen turned into an oven. Sweat ran down my back. My feet swelled inside my slippers, but I kept going. The ham went in the oven when the turkey came out. Glazed it with brown sugar, mustard, honey, cloves. The smell took over the whole house. Sweet, smoky, cozy. Made 2 pies, pecan with that thick, shiny syrup, and sweet potato, smooth as silk, covered with whipped cream. Finished everything around 10 at night. The kitchen was a mess, sink full of dishes, food splatters on the walls, flour on the floor. I cleaned everything, washed every pot, every bowl, dried and put them away, mopped the floor. When I finally went to bed, it was almost midnight. Slept badly, anxious, excited. I wanted it to work out, needed it to work out. December 25th, Christmas, woke up early again, 7 in the morning, took a long shower, hot, trying to relax the sore muscles, put on nice clothes, black pants, long-sleeved red blouse, the fake pearl necklace James gave me on our 20th wedding anniversary, put on light lipstick, perfume, wanted to look presentable, wanted Terence to look at me and see that I'd made an effort, spent the morning organizing the final details, lit the candles, put on soft Christmas music, Nat King Cole, that velvet voice singing about chestnuts roasting, arranged the flowers Dorothy had given me in the vase, checked the food 3 times, everything ready, everything perfect. Now I just had to wait. They got there at 3:15 in the afternoon. I was looking out of the window when the black SUV parked out front. My heart jumped, wiped my hands on the apron, took off the apron, threw it on the couch, took a deep breath, opened the door with a smile. Terence got out first. He'd gained weight since last time, about 6 months ago, his belly pushing against his blue dress shirt, beard trimmed short, gray on the sides, thick-framed glasses. He's 32 years old, but looks older, tired. Hey, Mom. He gave me that side hug, quick, without squeezing, the kind of hug you give an acquaintance. Jasmine got out of the passenger seat. She's pretty, I gotta admit. Smooth skin, hair straight to her shoulders, blonde highlights mixed with the natural brown, wore a moss green dress that must have cost a fortune, heels, leather purse, gave me 2 air kisses, didn't even touch. Hi, Lorraine. Wow, it's so hot in here. You've got the heat way too high. I didn't. It was at normal temperature. But she always complained about something. The kids got out of the back seat. Tyler, the older one, is the spitting image of his dad. Curly hair cut real low, big eyes. Was glued to a Nintendo Switch, his fingers flying over the buttons. Barely looked at me. Hey, Grandma. Madison looks more like her mom. Looser hair, tied in 2 pigtails with red bows, white dress with ruffles. She at least gave me a real hug. Hi, Grandma. Your house smells good. It's the food, sweetheart. I made everything you guys like. Showed them around the house. Jasmine looked at everything with those critical eyes, evaluating. You decorated. Yeah, wanted to make a nice Christmas. It's cozy. Cozy. She meant small, simple, inferior to hers. Swallowed the sting. Devon got there an hour later, driving from Atlanta. 3-hour drive. He looked tired but happy to see me, hugged me tight, lifted me off the ground a little like he always does. Hey, Mom, you look beautiful. He always says that. Always makes me feel seen. Devon's thinner than his brother. Taller too. wears thin-rimmed glasses, full beard, works in programming, one of those tech companies I don't really understand, but that pays well. We sat in the living room first. I tried to talk, asked about Terence's work. It's busy. End of year's always like that. Asked about the new house they'd mentioned months ago. We gave up on it. Market's complicated. Jasmine poked at her phone the whole time. The kids disappeared upstairs where I'd left some of the boys' old toys. Devon tried to help, making jokes, commenting on the decorations, on how good the house smelled, but the atmosphere was heavy, dense, like fog you feel but can't see. At 6 o'clock I called everyone to dinner. The table looked beautiful, the candles glowed, the food was arranged on the pretty serving dishes, everything perfect, visually at least. But I already felt it, already knew something was going to happen, just didn't know what. And when Jasmine let out that comment about me doing everything my way, the floor caved in, and the rest you already know. Devon slept on the couch that night, insisted, said he wasn't going to leave me alone. I thanked him, but said I was fine. Obvious lie. You know when it's a lie, but you say it anyway, 'cause you don't know what else to say. Went upstairs to my room, lay on the bed still in my Christmas clothes, the fake pearl necklace squeezing my neck. Didn't even have energy to take it off. Kept staring at the ceiling. The fan spun slowly. Tick-tock of the clock. Silence of the house. And in my head, chaos. Terence's words repeated on an infinite loop. You were never there. You were selfish. I didn't want an expensive school. I wanted my mom. Each repetition hurt like it was the first time. I started going through memories, trying to find proof he was wrong or proof he was right. Don't know which would be worse. I remembered the time Terence broke his arm. He was 6, fell off the jungle gym at school. The principal called me at the hospital. I was in the middle of a procedure, helping with emergency surgery. Heard the phone ring and ring in the purse I'd left in the locker room. When I managed to answer, it was already the 3rd call. Mrs. Mitchell, your son broke his arm. They've already called the ambulance. I dropped everything, took off my surgical scrubs, put on my clothes, didn't even shower properly to get the sweat off, drove to the children's hospital doing 100 heart in my throat. He was alone in the ER when I got there. James was traveling, Tennessee or Alabama. Don't remember. Terence was crying softly, trying to be strong. His little arm swollen, purple. I held his hand while they put the cast on. Took 3 days off. Stayed home, taking care of him. Helped him shower, eat, sleep. He doesn't remember that. Or does he remember but doesn't count it? 'Cause it doesn't fit the narrative? I remembered when he had pneumonia, 12 years old. Fever that hit 104. I spent the whole night next to his bed, changing the wet cloth on his forehead, giving medicine every 3 hours, watching his breathing, afraid to sleep and wake up and have him gotten worse. In the morning, I took him to the hospital. He was admitted for 5 days. I'd go in the morning before work, come back after my shift, stay late, slept in the uncomfortable chair in his room some nights. James showed up on the 2nd day, stayed a few hours and said he needed to get back to work. It was me, like always. Doesn't that count either? But then I remembered the times I wasn't there, and there were a lot. His first high school basketball game, I'd promised I'd go. Swapped my shift with a coworker. Everything was set, but she called the morning of the game saying her daughter had gotten sick. She couldn't go, and there was a surgery scheduled. And I was the only nurse with experience in that type of procedure available. I called Terence. Son, I'm not going to be able to make it today. Sorry, but the next one I'll go. I promise. Silence on the other end. Okay, Mom. Voice with no emotion. I went to the hospital, did the surgery, saved a life, but lost a moment with my son that never came back. 8th grade graduation. James was going to be traveling, but I guaranteed I'd be there. Bought new clothes for Terence, little suit that looked great on him. Took time off. Everything was set. But 2 days before, one of the nurses on the team quit without notice, just didn't show up anymore. We were short, really short. My supervisor begged me to cover. Lorraine, please, if you don't come, I'm going to have to close beds. There are people who need surgery. I thought a lot, called Terence. Son, didn't even need to finish. It's okay, Mom, I know. I'm so sorry. I'll get pictures, I'll ask someone to record it, then we'll celebrate, just you and me. Okay, but it wasn't. And when I got home that night, he'd already taken off the suit, didn't want to show me the pictures, didn't want to talk about the ceremony, closed his bedroom door, and I let him, 'cause I was too tired to insist. The state basketball championship. Terence was 16. His team made it to the finals. He'd asked me at least 5 times to go. Mom, please, it's the most important game. We trained all year. I'll go, son. I will. Scheduled time off a month in advance, but the week of the game, there was a car accident on the highway. 3 victims. ICU was packed. They called everyone who could come help. I was in the middle of my shift. They were going to let me go in 2 hours, enough time to get to the gym. But one of the victims went into cardiac arrest. Then another chaos. When I looked at the clock, the game was already over. Called Terence crying. He didn't answer, sent a text. Son, forgive me. There was an emergency. It was horrible. Call me when you can. He only responded the next day. We won. That's it. And then nothing for weeks. Got closed off with me. Distant. I'd try to talk. He'd answer in monosyllables. Try to hug. He'd pull away. And eventually I stopped trying. It was easier that way. Got up from bed at 4 in the morning. Wasn't gonna be able to sleep anyway. Went down to the kitchen. Devin was still sleeping on the couch, covered with the old plaid blanket. Made coffee. Sat at the dining table, still with the dishes from the night before that Devin had stacked but hadn't put away. Started gathering them. Wasted food. Turkey, nobody really ate. Ham almost untouched. Pie intact. Threw it all in the trash. Each piece that fell in the trash can felt like a piece of me. Washed the dishes, hot water burning my hands, scrubbed hard, like I could scrub away the pain too. Put away my mother's china, each little plate back in the cabinet. Thought about how many Christmases this china had seen, how many happy families, and now this. Put away the red tablecloth, folded the flower-shaped napkins nobody had used, threw the wilted flowers in the trash, blew out the candles. Devin woke up around 8. Came to the kitchen with his hair all messed up, still in yesterday's clothes. Good morning, Mom. Good morning, son. Poured him coffee. We stayed in silence for a while, a comfortable silence, at least, different from last night's suffocating silence. I need to get back to Atlanta today, he said, guilty. Got work early tomorrow, meeting I can't miss. I know, son. Go, don't worry. You gonna be okay? Was I gonna be? Didn't know. Yeah. He hugged me tight before leaving. Call me. Anything. Anytime. I'll answer. I will. But I knew I wouldn't. Wasn't gonna call my youngest son crying, burden him with my pain. He already had his own problems. When Devin left, the house went totally silent. That heavy silence only people who live alone know. Walked through the rooms, empty living room, kitchen too clean. Guest room the kids didn't even use. Everything empty, everything pointless. Sat on the couch and turned on the TV, some Christmas movie playing, happy people, families together, problems solved in 2 hours with a happy ending. Turned it off, couldn't watch that. The days after Christmas dragged like cold molasses. Don't have another way to describe it. would wake up not knowing what day it was. Monday, Thursday, Saturday, didn't matter. All the same, all gray. Didn't take down the Christmas tree. It just sat there in the corner of the room, lights blinking, reminding me of failure. But I didn't have the energy to take it down, to put it away, to do anything. Ate badly, toast with butter, canned soup, things that didn't need effort. The food had no taste anyway. Watched TV all day. Cooking shows, news, soap opera reruns, anything that filled the silence, but didn't pay attention. Just sat there, staring at the screen, thinking, always thinking, ruminating. Terence's words, Jasmine's face, my own paralysis. Why didn't I react? Why didn't I defend myself? That question tormented me more than anything else. On the 28th, Dorothy knocked on the door. My neighbor. She's one of those old-school neighbors, the kind that don't exist anymore. Lives next door. Has for over 20 years. We have coffee together sometimes. Water each other's plants when we travel. Trade dishes of food. She's a widow too. Her husband died about 7 years ago. Has kids in other states who visit at Thanksgiving. Lorraine, you in there? Her voice from the other side of the door. Thought about not opening, about pretending I wasn't home. But she insisted. I know you're in there. I saw the light on last night. Open this door. I opened it. She came in without asking, looked me up and down and shook her head. Girl, what's with that face? What happened? And I fell apart, again. Seemed like all it took was someone asking with genuine concern and I'd completely fall apart. Dorothy sat me on the couch, made tea in my kitchen like she owned the place, came back with 2 cups. Tell me. And I told her. Everything. Every detail of that horrible dinner. She listened in silence, just shaking her head now and then, making sounds of disapproval. When I finished, she held my hand. And men don't understand what mothers do, especially men who've always had everything. They don't understand sacrifice, 'cause they never had to make any. But he's right, Dorothy. I wasn't there when he needed me. 'Cause you were working to give him a roof, food, clothes, education. You think he would have preferred having you at the games and going hungry. I'd never thought of it that way. That his wife's got her hand in this, she continued, with that tone of someone who knows things. I've seen her when she came to visit you. That girl looks at you like you're dirt on her shoe. She comes from people with money, doesn't know what it means to struggle, and now she's poisoning your son. Maybe, probably was. But it didn't change the fact that Terence's pain was real, had a source, had roots, and the root was me, my absences, my choices. Dorothy stayed another hour, talking about nothing and about everything. When she left, I felt a little less alone, but just a little. Tried calling Terence on the 30th. My hand shook when I dialed the number. It rang. Voicemail. Hey son, it's Mom. I wanted to talk to you about what happened. When you can, call me. He didn't call. December 31st, New Year's Eve. Tried again. Straight to voicemail. He'd either turned it off or blocked me. Sent a WhatsApp message. 1 gray check mark. Not delivered. He blocked me. My own son blocked me. The pain was physical. Literal. Felt it in my chest, like someone had squeezed my heart with their hand. Devon called me that night. Mom, how you doing? Getting by. Talked to Terence. My heart jumped. And he's closed off. Doesn't want to talk about it. He said what he needed to and that's it. He blocked me, Devon. Silence on the other end. Then, seriously. Can't call him. Can't text him. Son of a bitch. I'd never heard Devon cuss out his brother. Sorry, Mom, but that's bullshit. You're his mother. Maybe he needs time. Time? He humiliated you at Christmas and now he's blocking you. That's not needing time. That's being an asshole. Spent New Year's alone. Dorothy invited me over to her place, had some friends coming, wine, cheese, conversation. Thanked her but said no, wasn't in the headspace to fake being normal. Stayed in my living room, lights off, watching through the window, the fireworks the neighbors were setting off, colorful explosions in the black sky, people yelling Happy New Year, in the street, hugs, laughter, and me there, alone, in the dark, thinking about how 2024 had ended so horribly and how 2025 was starting with no hope at all. Without my son, without my grandkids, without purpose. January came in cold. Greenville's not usually very cold, but that January was below zero temperatures some mornings, ice on the windows, took down the Christmas decorations on the 3rd. Each ornament I put away weighed tons, took apart the tree, put the red and gold balls in the old cardboard boxes, rolled up the lights, took the wreath off the door. The house looked even emptier without the decorations. Sadder, more honest, maybe. Went back to routine, or tried to. Wake up, coffee, TV, simple lunch, TV, dinner, TV, sleep. But it was all mechanical, robotic. I was there, but I wasn't. Functioning, but not living. Started having nightmares, always similar. Terrence as a child, running toward me, calling Mom, Mom, and me trying to reach him but not being able to. Something was holding me back. Or the distance would increase the more I walked, and he'd get smaller, farther, till he disappeared. Would wake up sweating, heart racing. Took minutes to realize it was a dream. But was it, or was it memory in disguise? On January 15th, I got a text, saw her name on the screen and my stomach turned. Jasmine. Opened it with fear. Lorraine, I know things got tense at Christmas, but I think it'd be good for you to give it some time and respect Terrence's space right now. He needs to process his feelings. Read it once, twice, 3 times. Each word making me angrier. Give it time. Respect his space. He destroyed me in front of the whole family and I have to give him space. I have to wait for him to decide when he's ready to forgive me. Forgive me for what? For working to support him? For sacrificing? For the first time since Christmas, I felt something different from the suffocating sadness. Anger. Pure and simple. Anger at this woman who barely knew me sending a text telling me what I should or shouldn't do. Anger at Terrence for treating me that way and now ignoring me. Anger at myself for staying quiet, for accepting, for letting it happen. Didn't respond to the text. But the anger stayed and started to grow, started rethinking everything. Why do I have to accept being treated like this? Why do I have to sit here, suffering, waiting for him to decide to give me attention? Why am I always the one who has to give in, forgive, swallow it? Spent my whole life doing that, swallowing, accepting, giving in. When James spent money, we should have saved. Swallowed it. When he promised to be home for the boys, birthdays and didn't show, swallowed it. When Terrence treated me coldly on his last few visits, swallowed it. And now this, no, not anymore, called Devin one afternoon. Mom, how are you? Angry. Surprised silence on the other end. Angry. Yeah. Angry at your brother, angry at being humiliated, angry at waiting for him to decide if he's gonna give me attention or not. I'm tired, Devin. And what are you gonna do? Good question. What was I gonna do? For the first time in weeks, I felt like I needed to act. Couldn't keep going like this, passive, waiting. I deserved respect, deserved to be heard, deserved a chance to defend myself. And if Terrence wasn't gonna give me that spontaneously, I was gonna go after it, was gonna demand it. I'm gonna call him. And this time, he's gonna listen to me. He blocked you. Then I'll go there. I'll go to his house and I'll say what I need to say. You sure about that? Yeah. And I was. For the first time in a long time, I was sure about something. Took me 3 days to work up the courage. Planning what I was going to say, writing and rewriting in my head. Couldn't freeze up again. Not this time. On January 22nd, I picked up the phone, called from the landline, 'cause he'd blocked my cell. It rang. He answered. Hello? His voice, surprised. Terrence, it's me. Silence. Mom? We need to talk. For real. Face to face. I don't have anything to... But I do. My voice came out firmer than I expected. And you're gonna listen to me. You owe me at least that much after what you did. More silence. Then, fine. Saturday, I'll come over alone. Alone? Jasmine's gonna stay with the kids. It's better that way. Yeah, it was way better. Saturday took forever. Cleaned the house again, more out of nervousness than necessity. Changed clothes 3 times. Made and threw out 2 pots of coffee 'cause they burned. At 2 in the afternoon, I heard the car pull up. Looked out the window. He got out alone. Walked slowly to the door, rang the doorbell. I took a deep breath. Counted to 3, opened it. He looked different, thinner, deep dark circles, unshaven, looked tired, really tired. Hey, Mom. Come in. No hug, no kiss. He came in, sat on the couch. I sat in the chair across from him. Same setup as Christmas, but different. I was different. The silence stretched out, uncomfortable, heavy. He looked at the floor. I looked at him. Finally, he spoke. So, you said you needed to talk. Yeah, gathered my strength. At Christmas, you humiliated me in front of everyone. Called me selfish, absent, said I was never there, and I stayed quiet. Let you say all that without responding, but I'm not staying quiet anymore, Terrence. He looked away. I just told the truth. Your truth. My voice came out strong, firm. You told your version, but you didn't give me a chance to tell mine. He was about to interrupt. I raised my hand. No. Now you listen to me. Give me that respect, 'cause I'm your mother and I deserve it. He shut his mouth. I continued. Yes, I worked a lot. Yes, I missed your games, meetings, performances, and I carry that. You think I don't carry that. You think it was easy choosing between going to watch you play and working a shift that would pay for your school? I saw something cross his face. Doubt, maybe. Your father traveled. Terrence spent weeks, months away. Someone had to pay the bills, and it wasn't him, it was me. Someone had to make sure you and your brother had clothes, food, school supplies, had a future, and that someone was me. You could have gotten another job, he mumbled. Better hours, making half as much. I leaned forward. And how was I going to pay for your college at Clemson? How was I going to pay for the apartment I helped you with your first year? The car I gave you when you turned 18? How, Terrence? He went quiet. I made hard choices. Choices that hurt me as much as they hurt you. Maybe more. 'Cause you didn't see it. You didn't know. But I knew. I felt every absence. Every moment I wasn't there. And I kept going anyway. Why? 'Cause I thought I was doing the right thing. 'Cause I thought giving you a good life, a stable future, was more important than being in the stands. But it wasn't. His voice came out weak. Not to me. And that broke my heart all over again. 'Cause he was right. To him, it wasn't. I know. And I'm sorry. Really, son. I'm sorry I didn't understand that before. I'm sorry I didn't talk to you more about why I made those choices. I'm sorry you grew up feeling like you weren't important to me when you always were. Always. He looked at me for the first time. His eyes were wet. I felt invisible. Mom. Like I didn't matter. Like your work was more important than me. It never was. Never. But I understand why you felt that way. And I carry that guilt. Took a deep breath. But that didn't give you the right to treat me the way you treated me at Christmas. Not in front of the kids. Not in front of your wife who was loving every second of seeing me destroyed. He tensed up. Jasmine smiled. Terence. My voice came out hard. She smiled when you yelled at me. She sent a text days later saying I should give you space. Like I'd done something wrong. I saw his jaw tighten. He knew. She thinks you try to control things. I don't want to control anything. I just wanted to have my family at Christmas. Make a nice dinner for my sons and grandkids. Is that controlling? Silence. Long. Heavy. Finally, I decided to let it out. And there's something else you need to know. He looked at me. You said I chose to work, but you know what else I chose? Took a deep breath. I chose not to abandon you guys when your father died and left debts I had to pay off alone. I saw his eyes widen. What? I chose not to lose it when I found out he had a serious gambling problem online, that he'd blow our money we should have saved, on casino sites. I chose to hold the house together, hold you guys together, hold everything together by myself while I paid off loans he'd taken out without me knowing. I didn't know that. His voice barely came out. You didn't know. 'Cause I never told you. Didn't want you growing up angry at him. Didn't want to tarnish the memory you had of your father. So I swallowed it, carried it, alone, like always. The tears finally came down my face, but I didn't stop. You think it was easy, working double shifts, not just 'cause I needed the regular money, but 'cause I had to pay off gambling debts. You think it was easy waking up at dawn to go to the hospital, knowing my kids were home alone, 'cause their father was on a work trip that maybe wasn't even real. That maybe was just an excuse to run from responsibilities. Mom. And I still stayed, still fought, paid every debt, kept the house, put both of you through college, never let you go without. So don't tell me I was selfish. Don't tell me I chose my work over you guys, 'cause I chose you every time, even when it hurt, even when it cost me everything. Terence was crying now, sobbing, hid his face in his hands. I didn't know. My God, Mom, I didn't know any of this. 'Cause I protected you. 'Cause that's what mothers do. We carry the weight so you don't have to. I stayed silent, letting the words settle, letting him process. Minutes passed. He finally lifted his face, eyes red, swollen. I messed everything up, didn't I? You hurt me a lot, and I don't know when I'll be able to forget that Christmas. I was honest. It's gonna take time. A long time. Can we try to fix this? Try again? I looked at him, my son, who used to be that baby I held in my arms, that little boy who'd wake up from nightmares and come to my room, that teenager who'd hug me when he was happy. And now he was this broken man in front of me. Depends on you, Terence. Depends on you respecting me, treating me with dignity, and setting boundaries with your wife when she disrespects me. He nodded. I will. I promise. I'm gonna do things differently. And it's gonna take time, I repeated. It's not gonna be overnight. You broke something between us, and fixing broken things takes time. I know. And another thing, I looked in his eyes. Never block me again. Never ignore me again. If you're angry, if you got something to say, you say it to me. But don't treat me like I don't exist. Never again. Never again. I swear. I don't know if I completely believed him, but it was a start. He stayed another hour. We talked, really talked. He told me about the memories he carried, the specific moments that hurt, the science fair where he won first place and looked for me in the audience, graduation day where all the parents were taking pictures except his, the championship they won and he had nobody to celebrate with. I listened to everything, every pain, every hurt, and I apologized. Really, not apologies but real apologies. That I'm sorry, son. I'm sorry you felt that way. I'm sorry I wasn't there. When he left, we didn't hug, not yet, but he looked at me at the door and said, "Thanks for listening to me and for speaking up. I needed to hear that." I needed to say it too. He left. I closed the door and leaned against it, exhausted, but different, lighter, like a weight had come off my shoulders. In the following days, Terence started sending texts. "Good morning, Mom. How are you? Saw a recipe and thought of you." Little things. I'd respond, still short, cautious, but I'd respond, "Devon called me, excited. Terence told me you guys talked. Mom, I'm so relieved." We talked, but it's still gonna take time to heal. I know, but it's a start, right? It was a small start, fragile. But it was. 2 weeks later, early February, Terence showed up again, without warning, rang the doorbell on a Saturday morning. I opened it. He had the boys with him, Tyler and Madison. "Hey, Mom, can I come in? The boys wanted to see you." My heart jumped. Of course. "Come in." The kids came in shy. Madison came up to me, hugged me. "Sorry, Grandma, for leaving like that at Christmas. It wasn't your fault, sweetheart." Tyler stayed back but waved. We spent the morning together, had coffee. The kids played in the yard. Terence and I talked in the kitchen. There was still tension, still caution, but there was effort, trying. When they left, Madison hugged me again. "Can we come back next week?" I looked at Terence. He nodded. "If your grandma wants us to." I do. And I did. Really did. I don't know how it's gonna be from here on out. Don't know if we're gonna be able to fix it completely. Some things, when they break, leave scars, leave marks. That Christmas left them. But I learned one thing. I deserve respect, deserve dignity, deserve to be heard. I spent 64 years of my life giving in, swallowing, making myself smaller, worked 38 years, raised 2 sons practically by myself, held a house together, paid off debts that weren't mine, sacrificed dreams, time, health, and I don't regret doing that for my kids. But I'm not going to accept being treated like none of it mattered anymore. Like, I don't matter. If my son wants to rebuild our relationship, it's going to be on my terms too, with mutual respect, with honest communication, with clear boundaries. And if he doesn't want to, if it's too much, I'll survive. 'Cause I discovered something important after that horrible Christmas. I'm stronger than I thought. And I deserve more than crumbs of affection. I deserve to be seen, be valued, be loved the way I've always loved, and I won't accept less. Never again.